thing, I was talking to a guy yesterday, right? And he's a really good friend of mine, but he's a little bit more, he's kind of like a peer. In this thing, he's trying to do similar work as us, but his organization is completely, like, it's not the same construct or idea. But
what's his idea?
So he's, okay, this is the difference. This is what he said. He's like, some organizations are trying to bridge gaps. And he said, like, that's kind of what he understands we're trying to do. You know, kind of come across the aisle, speak to the people in the middle. And he's like, there are other organizations who focus on coexisting. And we talked a little bit about the differences between us and his organization. And I was telling him what we were struggling with. And it's hard to get people to come across the aisle. It's easy to get people like chatting, throwing Facebook comments and anonymous, I'll never meet this person. I'm gonna say whatever the hell I want to say to him. But like this, like recorded content, how do you feel? It's really hard to get people that have opposing views to sit down. Like you can see it like on the mainstream, CNN or MSNBC, people that, hey, we're gonna do this, it's scripted, cut, you can't say that. You know, but like this, like, hey, tell us how you feel, put it out there for everybody. Don't be afraid to be wrong. And that's why I think we can be successful, because I'm the first to admit, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm the first to admit I didn't think about it like that. And I'll put it out there and I'll make the mistakes to let other people, you know, kind of know that, you know, I kind of felt like Dadrian did, but it's okay to change your mind, you know?
Yeah, I think, you know, sorry, go ahead, Allison, you first.
Well, I was just thinking about the term coexist, because I remember like the bumper stickers coexist, you know, it sounds like a nice word, but sometimes I think in America, we try too hard to coexist and be polite, and just be like, okay, you're fine. Oh, leave me out of it. I don't want to have that discussion. That's too uncomfortable. But I do think what you mentioned about our group wanting to bridge that gap. I think we, of course, want to coexist, but we want to coexist more in a real environment. We want to be ourselves and be ourselves openly and coexist, not be ourselves quietly and not, you know, stir the pot, and then we can coexist. So I think that's part of it.
I get two takeaways from what you guys are saying. One, the niceties, right? I mean, that's kind of like a social construct in general, which I get. Like, look, if you're not that person that wants to get involved, like, cool, then play the niceties. It's the meeting after the meeting. I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of this in professional world. It's like everybody has the meeting, and then there's the 10-minute meeting afterward where everybody actually talks what they should have talked about.
Oh,
like, why? I was here, I was open. But that leads me to my other takeaway from like what Dee was talking about, and kind of like what the struggle is really, I think, in general that we're talking about, but especially when you're trying to create like a diversity of thought, is like, you got to have, Dee, your mindset is what you need. Not everyone, one, either has that naturally, they're not capable, or they don't have the resources, or they're not, what's the word, like, you just don't have the availability within yourself to be that individual. A lot of people don't want to like meet in the middle or cross the bridge or come to an agreement or have the idea to think that like your idea might actually be a good one.
Like, it's exhausting. And the thing is, when you look at the two radical opposing poles, right? You can have far left and far right ideas. I think they're okay with coexisting. You go over there, I'll go over here. Their beliefs align a lot. The only one thing they don't agree on is who's better.
How to go about it. Yeah. Or that's, man, that competitive nature side of it too, right? It's like everybody can get to the across the bridge, but like some people are going to want to go over it, some people are going to want to fly over it, some people are going to want to skip, some people are going to want to hold hand. Like, there's so many different ways, but like that, I think that's the mentality that I'm talking about, though, that's been so difficult, is like, even if we get other people from other sides, I even hate saying sides now, it's like just other thought processes and other viewpoints, like, what is their goal within it? Is it still to like convert, joke, Allison, right? Like the conversion, right? Like, I mean, honestly, mine always is some version of like an understanding and this is always mine though, right? An understanding of them, maybe try to shift their viewpoint where I think they're getting to a more holistic view of like what that topic means across like humanity versus just like them in their own world, which is where often I end up kind of running into either my friend group or others that I challenge. It's like we all get kind of very focused on like how it affects me only or my family only or whatever it is, or even like my neighborhood only. And it's like, yo, this is humanity since the beginning of time.
True.
And this is what we're trying to get to.
Though we can play on that when we're trying to, win hearts and minds. You can play to the fact that people, they know themselves better. Well, mostly they know themselves better than anyone. They know their own experience. So when you can relate something to their experience, that always helps too.
And it doesn't.
It's hard sometimes.
It doesn't have to be binary either. It doesn't have to be either or. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay with there being racist. Just don't be an asshole.
That's the coexisting.
Yeah, I am okay with that. But there are very different ideologies, and I found this out. This past year, I don't really associate with people on the far right at all because our ideas clash way too much. But I have a whole lot of very close friends that are way further to the left than I am. And I can understand, I can relate, to some of the things they want. But I can't let them change me. You don't want to let the radical people on either side change you, because we're not a radical organization, because the leadership isn't radical.
Yeah. Even in our name, right? Like diversity of thought, that was a very deliberate name. And even a struggle for us to say, are we though? So we have to be.
Yeah. I always joke too about the diversity of thought and don't be an asshole. Like, that could be our title. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, diversity of thought, but don't be an asshole. If you're an asshole, then just like get out. No one wants that, period, really, unless you're trying to get ratings. But we're not here to try to get ratings. This is like truly, that's why the action part came in with us. It's like we could talk like this all day long and people probably will listen, maybe you'll listen. They may be already tuning out right now. But like, just don't be an ass. But like, people are like, well, we're almost like addicted to that. Like, oh man, did you see Dee and Andy getting into it at one time? Like, oh, I got to check it out at minute 3. No one cares about the 3 minutes before it.
Yeah. And for me, like, the way I make my decision is steady progress. Steady progress is enough for me to remain a happy person. You know what I mean? So like, there's people that are radical that want to end racism. And I do too. Mm-hmm. But they want to do it by just shut everything down, smash the machine, don't talk to them. Okay, but it's a relay. There's one thing I tell people. Martin Luther King died trying to get everybody to love each other. He got assassinated. It didn't work. But he's just a small picture.
Crazy though, right? Hold on. Listen to that even. Listen to the things. That's always the things that pop up in my mind when you say this is like, yo, the people that have actually tried to do what we're doing get shut out or killed. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yo, why?
And they died unfulfilled, unhappy.
Like,
because
they want. Like, why is it so insane? Like, it's I think it goes back to that ideology thing you're talking about, man. It's like the human construct and the way the brain maybe is built. I have no idea. This is the part that I always love about this is I want to dig more into like the psychology and sociology of all of this. It's like the conversion, right? Like, I joke with Allison about that because I grew up very religious, but like evangelical like mindset of like, no, you have to live like this or else you will go to hell. Right. Yeah. And it's like it's the same format around like the principles of society. It's like, yo, no, you don't you don't get to dictate control someplace else and then say that the other place doesn't. Like, that's not
that's where the left and right like are similar, right? We all think our intentions are we honestly believe what we're saying. Like, we honestly think we're trying to make the world better. We just think about how to do it from very opposite points. And the intention on both sides is to convert the other side, or pull them a little bit closer or push them away. That's the other part.
I understand why people think that's effective. But the problem is I'm a very thoughtful person. Like, I'm not going to just say some shit. I understand. I just watched Judas and the Black Messiah. I don't know if you guys saw that yet. And he was gung-ho. And like I said, I don't think he died unfulfilled. That's not the correct way to put it, because he was like, you can kill me, but you can't kill the revolution. And there's so many people like that in Malcolm X, where you look at what they did and you can't deny that they made a difference. And some people are looking like, well, if you're going to be wishy-washy, you're not going to make a difference. And they're so radical that they don't want to hear why I steadfastly disagree with that. And with this organization, I am determined to prove that we can have the same enemy and just go at it at different angles. We don't all have to think the same. And I've had some people that really surprised me, because I'm very outward with what I'm doing, what my goal is. But it's all from love, and I'm not going to let anybody change that.